In the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for the permission and protection granted us while participating today in of constructing a paradise on this earth. Let us pray together the Amatsu-Norito, the prayer of heaven, followed by the Miroku Prayer. Please stand. Taka amahara ni kamazumarimasu. Kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite. Sume miyoya kamuiza mikoto. Tsukushi no himuka no tachi hana no. Odo no ahagi hara ni. Misogi harai tamo toki ni narimaseru. Harai dono o kami tachi. Moro moro no maga goto tsumi kegare o. Harai tamae kiyome tamae tomao sukoto no yoshio. Amatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomoni. Ame no fuchi koma no mimi furi tatete. Kikoshi meseto kashi komi mo maosu. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Kam nagara tamachi haemase. Kam nagara tamachi haemase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated for group Johrei. May God and Meishu-sama bless you. Meishu-sama's teachings for this evening is entitled Illness is from the Daily Inspirations, page 69. Those of you serving God's work should understand that clouds on the spiritual body are the cause of illness. Try your best to purify it. Through my illness, I was led to this divine work. I became a humble plant. How lucky I am. We are giving life, priceless life, to serve God's cause. We may sometimes wonder then why we are afflicted with illness and woe. Human beings are born into the physical realm with the mission of establishing an ideal world. This is God's plan. So, when we function in harmony and work most happily in perfect health, this is an eternal, immutable truth. However, no individual is free from the spiritual clouds that are passed from generation to generation. In addition, due to the ignorance of truth, people indiscriminately introduce harmful substances into their bodies. As a result, they sometimes become more susceptible to illness, contrary to expectations. However, it would be a deterrent to the furthering of God's plan if His workers were unable to continue to serve due to illness. It is natural then that He would help these individuals and restore them to health, so they need have no undue anxiety. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the Miroku Association headquarters evening service. Thank you also for praying along with us for world peace. This evening, I want to share with you the faith experience of Angelica Lopez de França. He's from our Los Angeles Johrei Center. In 1975, Angelica was 4 years old and her brother was only one when her parents and maternal grandmother became members of our church. In 1986, Angelica and her brother received the sacred focal point of Hikari. Her parents were always very present and active in their dedications at the Johrei Center, and she grew up seeing their example of faith and strong commitment to the divine plan. In 1995, she moved to another city and got married the next year. 2003, she was dedicated supporting and accompanying new members and first-time visitors to the Johrei Center. 2006, she had a dream in which Meishu-sama told her she was going to experience a purification process. In that dream, she said to him, "Don't say that, Meishu-sama, please, because when you say it, it will come true." And he laughed at her. In another moment of that dream, she was in a line where many people behind her were waiting to greet Meishu-sama and his wife Nidai-sama. He was wearing gray pants, very shiny black shoes, and a white shirt. Angelica gave him a hug, lay down on his shoulders, and cried so much that his shirt got soaked, with her tears dropping on the floor. A few months after that dream, she experienced her first panic attack. It was a very intense and bad feeling, and she didn't know what it was, an overwhelming feeling of terror. That day, she was in the Johrei Center watching a class, and then immediately the instructor stopped the class and took her to the altar to pray with her. Angelica didn't want to stand before the altar and kept saying, "I don't want to stay here. I want to get out of here." There was so much light that it was bothering her. So she went home to take a bath and rest, but the crisis came again. She was scared and asked a friend to go with her to a hospital. She took a tranquilizer and the doctor said she was just stressed. Thereafter, Angelica received numerous Johrei daily, but the crisis did not stop. She had to pause her dedications. She cried all the time, lost weight, and even thought she was getting crazy. She was worried that she was scaring her daughters. They were little kids at the time and kept telling them not to worry, that she wasn't getting crazy and that she would get better soon. Her father, who took care of dozens of people with panic syndrome and depression, after being cured with Johrei, after 8 years of suffering, he helped Angelica even from far away through phone calls, making her calm down. At a certain moment, he gave her a list of symptoms and asked her to tell him which one of them she had. If it was a minimum of 5 symptoms on that list, it meant that she was going through a panic syndrome disorder that could get worse into depression. He suggested for her to receive Joy as much as possible, but she didn't have the discipline to do that because her level of energy was close to zero. 2 months after her first episode of panic attack, he said, "So far I have been guiding you, but this is the best I can do. I cannot do for you what you have to do. From now on, you have to do it yourself. You need to take care of yourself. Or do you want to spend your whole life like this?" Then Angelica thought, "He is my father, but he cannot protect me from everything. I need to keep going and find my cure by myself. I have responsibilities. I have 2 children." From that day on, she made the decision to take care of herself with Johrei. Her commitment was to receive a minimum of 3 Johrei a day, Monday to Friday at the Johrei Center, where she made efforts to go as she couldn't do it from her home. She didn't have a car. It would take a 30 minutes walk to get there, even if it was raining or 100 degrees outside, so she could go there every day. By the end of the first week, she could see a tiny little light at the end of the tunnel. After a month, she experienced less panic attacks, and within 2 months of treatment, only and exclusively with Johrei, she didn't experience any more symptoms. But she still was not considered ready yet by her father, who always guiding her said, "You're not done yet. You still need 5 more months of Johrei. If you stop now, you will get back to stage one." And that was all she didn't want to happen. The panic attacks were getting less and less present, and when she completed 7 months of daily Johrei, she was another person. With the purification that happened to her, it wasn't like something she has heard from someone else. She herself really understood who Meishu-sama is, and that Johrei definitely saves lives and brings happiness to everyone. This was the greatest miracle of Angelica's life, and she will never have enough words of expressing her gratitude for saving so many of her ancestors that were standing in line in her dream. Angelica is deeply thankful to God and Meishu-sama to utilize her as an instrument to go through this severe purification and save countless ancestors that were in the darkness. Her goal is to keep being an instrument to save other people, just like she herself was saved. Thank you very much for listening to this wonderful faith experience from our Los Angeles Center. Wish you a very blessed evening. With this concludes our evening service. Thank you very much.